Alright everyone, Cowboy Trades here, welcome back to the channel for another update on Kadena. So, what just happened for Kadena? Like we discussed in our previous video, Kadena was gearing up for that next big move, and we did have it. We had a huge move back down to the downside, but more importantly, what is the next move for Kadena, and what are we doing with our KDA trade, which is currently sitting in 85% profit on our 5x leverage? Let's talk about all of this and more. Now, before we jump into the lower time frames, not too much has changed in the macro picture. So if you've watched my previous videos on Kadena, you will know all my thoughts on this. For those of you who are new, I will very quickly fly through this. So as we discussed, we came up to an area of volume interest for Kadena. We hit this level and we've started to move back down to the downside. We don't have much volume holding us up until we do come down to about 90 cent. Underneath there, you've got price targets at 69 cent, and big volume comes into this market around about 50 cent. Now, as we also discussed over on this chart, we had previous range lows in May that we retested, flipped as resistance, back tested as resistance, and as you can see, we just had another double rejection from this key zone right here, and it does look like we are turning down to the downside. On the weekly time frame, we finally started to put in a pretty nasty red candle over on the Heikin-Ashi. It's looking like we're getting ready for more continuation, and on the daily, as we discussed in our last video, just further continuation to the downside on the Heikin-Ashi. So in terms of the daily perspective and the weekly perspective, definitely, in my opinion, expect a bit more continuation into this move. KDA BTC hasn't moved too much. As we said before, our price target is the bottom of this range, which we can extrapolate back. Previous touch points over here. I still believe Kadena has about another 41% to drop against its Bitcoin pair. Coming over to this chart as well, you can see, range lows, range lows. This is the same trend line we used before. We retested, but over on this chart, you can see we're coming down to a crucial area of support. We came down to this level about 2 weeks ago, and also you can see that this level right here also comes into confluence with this trend line. I believe it's a little bit nicer to see this trend line on the daily time frame, because we've got candle body closes right here, candle body closes, then we've got candle body closes and wicks, we've got wicks, we've got wicks, we've got wicks, we've got candle body closes on this trend line, then we've got candle body closes as resistance on this trend line, then we've got wicks as resistance. This was a candle body close here. You can see a little bit of a divergence, a little bit of a move through here, but once again, for the first time since Kadena was trading round about $1.05, pretty much the same price target as we are now. Since the beginning of January, we are coming back to this crucial trend line, and at least in my opinion, there's really not much holding Kadena to the upside other than this 96 cent level. Now, if we do draw a Fibonacci from the swing lows up to the swing highs, you can see this also comes into confluence with your 618 Fibonacci. So in the higher time frames, what I really want to let you know is keep your eyes on $1. This is a 618 Fibonacci level. This is a trend line associated with these previous lows. If we drop beneath $1, we're going to head all the way down to 96 cent. If we lose 96 cent, yes, you might be looking at this and saying, hey, I'm a bull. I also want to take into consideration the 786 at 90 cent. You might also be looking at these lows down here at 85 cent. In my opinion, if you start losing this $1, if you start losing 96 cent, this is going to end up being a BART pattern, taking us all down to these lows, at which point there's going to be a lot of momentum and continuation, allowing us to push down to new lows. And talking about momentum and continuation, has this move just started? Well, in my opinion, it has. Let's come over to the stochastic RSI on the weekly time frame. You may be looking at Kadena right now and saying, hey, Kadena's just had a 26% retrace. There's no way that it can go down much further. The stochastic RSI on the weekly disagrees. We have not even had that bearish cross yet taking us down like we had all the way back over here. You can see when the stochastic reached 100 back in August, we had a bearish cross, and that very quickly turned us all the way down. You can see we had a bullish cross over here, which was short-lived, or we tried to have a bullish cross, and then we crossed back down almost immediately. And from this move of the stochastic RSI, sure, it took a few months. We are looking at the weekly time frame after all, but we did drop 67, almost 68% from this move from the stochastic, coming from 100 all the way down to 0, because if you didn't know, the stochastic, it basically trends from 100 to 0, unlike things like the RSI, which most of the time do not reach 100 and most of the time do not reach 0. That is the point of the stochastic. It goes to 100, it goes to 0, it goes to 100, it goes to 0, and it just helps you identify highs and lows much easier, in my opinion. So stochastic, these higher time frame indicators have not crossed bearish yet. The MFI, money flow index, looking at liquidity at 57, overextended, it's above the heart line. You can see the squeeze momentum indicator has reset bearish momentum. We're still in that bullish territory, just like the stochastic RSI is still in bullish territory before we do cross back down bearish. Now, lower time frames, there is a slightly different picture, and I do want to discuss this in just one moment, but let's talk about our KDA trade, because as we told you a couple of days ago, when was it? We entered this trade here 9 days ago. Kadena trade right now. We gave you an update on this, letting you know that we are incorporating a new stop loss. And of course, since then, from our entry, we are down about 17%, which is an 85% profit on a 5x leverage. So if you are in this trade with me, congratulations. This was an absolutely beautiful one. So as always, as I always discuss on this channel, the more and more profitable our trade gets, the lower we will move our stop loss, because worst case scenario, as we always say, if we're wrong and the markets just completely reverse on us, we don't want to see that 85% completely evaporate. So where is going to be my new stop loss? Well, I'm going to put my stop loss just above these previous range highs, just above this touch point down here at $1.15. So I think round about $1.16 would be a very, very nice place to incorporate my new stop loss. So basically from our entry up here at $1.25.5, this is going to be a 7.6% profit unleveraged. And of course on a 5x leverage, that is going to be 38% profit. So once again, congratulations to the Cowboy family. This means that even in the worst case scenario at this moment in time, we've just realized 38% profit on this trade. And if you are currently still sitting in this trade with me, once again, this is an 85% profit right now. And I do expect further continuation. We talked about our price target from this bearish pennant. We updated this over in this video over here. Kadena will move big within 24 hours. Now, I think it took maybe 48 hours. It took just before 48 hours or so. And we had this big move. So once again, sometimes on the Cowboy family, we're a tiny bit ahead of the markets. We see these things before other people. But with this, we broke down, retested it, had a slight bounce back up, and then that is when we saw the nuke in the markets, when Bitcoin finally discovered to absolutely melt through the floorboards. So what do I expect in the higher time frames? Well, I expect us to come down to 90 cent and fulfill this price target. What do I expect if we zoom out further and come onto the daily time frame? I expect this short to come all the way down to these volume profiles that I indicated at the start of the video. I expect Kadena to drop all the way down to 50 cent, obviously filling this 60% drop from our entry, meaning a 3x return if we do come down to this level and if we do not get stopped out before that happens. But what could happen over the weekend and what could happen in the lower time frames? Let's talk about it. Well, one thing to talk about the equity markets just for 1 second. I know everyone wants to talk about altcoins 24/7, but the point of the matter is, most of the time, 95% of the time, your cryptocurrency markets, they follow your equity markets. And your equity markets are having a slight buyback right now. And normally this happens on a Friday. The equity markets love to retrace on a Friday as traders sell volatility. Volatility comes down as traders sell volatility, and people buy back the stock market coming into Friday. And that normally dumps back down over the weekends, which is why you see cryptocurrencies normally go slightly up / sideways on the weekend, and then they normally break down coming into Monday. This is normally why Bitcoin does its own thing over the weekend, and then the equity markets open, and then Bitcoin just follows what the equity markets do. And right now, yes, there are bearish patterns right now sitting on Bitcoin. I do see a bear flag on the 1 hour time frame. We also talked about a bear flag right here on the 4 hour time frame in a different chart. We're discussing Kadena, so I won't dive too deep into what's happening in Bitcoin right now. But I do want to let you know there is a slight possibility that Kadena could have a bounce back over the weekend. Now, does that mean I'm closing my short? No. This is why I'm incorporating a new stop loss in case the bounce is far bigger than I expected. But in the lower time frames on the 4 hour, you can see the stochastic is telling us that at some point soon we will be having a bounce. Now, as always, contrary to popular belief, I do not have a crystal ball. I do not know if we're going to bounce by the end of today on Friday. I don't know if we're going to bounce on Saturday or Sunday. And I also don't know if we're going to come down to 90 cent first and then have that bounce. All of these scenarios are somewhat possible, which is why I'm letting you know, be careful right now. Some of these metrics, some of these oscillators, like the MFI, for example, they have more room to move to the downside. The squeeze momentum indicator, they have more room to move to the downside. The stochastic RSI can definitely chop over the weekends if Bitcoin decides that it doesn't want to break back up. So my advice for you right now is keep your eyes on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin comes back down, breaks to the downside of this bear flag, and breaks beneath 22,000, you are going to see continuation in Kadena, and we're going to come down further. We're probably going to come down to this 90-cent price target, putting our trade in even more profitability. When that does happen, if that happens, I will be lowering the stop loss, realizing more profit in these markets. But I just wanted to give you a little heads up. There is the possibility that your cryptocurrency markets could have a slight bounce back over the weekends, but higher time frames, monthly time frame, weekly time frame, daily time frame Heikin-Ashis, these are all still bearish. The only thing which is leaning slightly bullish is maybe your 1 hour time frame or your 4 hour time frame. And as I said, it is possible Bitcoin breaks down first, comes down to this price target at 21,000. Kadena breaks down further, comes down to 90 cent, and then it's possible that we have that bounce at that moment in time. But for now, my friends, I do believe more continuation is coming for Kadena. I believe this is just the start of the next monumental move to the downside for Kadena. As always, do remember, I am a fan of Kadena in the higher time frames. It is something that I do plan on buying into the next bull run, but do I want to buy high or do I want to buy cheap? I think you know the answer for that. I've got my eyes on 50 cent. I've got my eyes on the point of control down here at 22 cent. I've got my eyes on the largest volume profile down here at 30 cent. Are these price targets something I'm looking at right now? Not necessarily. We take things one price target at a time. 50 cent is the next macro price target to keep your eyes on. That's a 50% drop from where we are. Get ready, my friends. I think this next move for Kadena is just starting. So for today, that's all I've got. As always, my friends, if you do enjoy my content, let me know down below by leaving a like and a comment. Share the videos with your friends. And if you want more of my posts, charts, memes, economic data, all that good stuff, be sure to come and follow me over on Twitter at 618_cowboy. Sometimes I share, interesting threads that I do not share over on my YouTube. Sometimes I share videos about what I'm doing in real life. And sometimes, as you can see, I updated what was going on with Bitcoin an hour ago, but I wasn't home when this market was capitulating, so I was posting over on Twitter my thoughts on what is going on at this moment in time. So be sure to come and follow me over on Twitter at 618_cowboy. If you want that extra content, be sure to come and join the Discord as well. All of these links for my Twitter, Discord, Instagram, and my merch store, they're all attached to my YouTube. So for today, my friends, that's all I've got. As always, it's been your boy Cowboy Trades. Congratulations on the trade if you're in it. Congratulations to the Cowboy family. I'm out. Peace.